Kevin O'Scanlan.
Welcome to the T1D Tonight Show. This is fun. I really did not expect this kind of energy from the lunch crowd, Will. After that research update this morning, which was amazing, I'm very pumped, pun intended, to be here tonight.
Whoa, McFly! That was so awesome. I'm ready to jump in the JDRF DeLorean and travel to the future. A world without T1D.
I can see it now, 88 miles per hour, Will. Let's do this.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
No, we need money. All right, well, let's talk about some breaking news stories here. Of course, we've all heard about the T1D index. This is huge. This is really huge, seriously. We've never had this sort of global information before. It's really impactful and important.
Yeah, honestly, I'm shocked to see some of those numbers. It's totally disturbing.
It is, and I don't know if you heard, but they actually posted a new statistic this morning on the website. Yeah. So apparently, a person loses about 1.5 hours a day of productivity. I hope you're listening, Aaron. Due to type 1 diabetes. Wait, no, I'm sorry. That's actually from playing Wordle.
Kevin, I've never missed a word.
Yeah, I can't even spell Wordle.
Kevin, it's not even 5 letters.
Yes. That's sick. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, in other news, of course, we've all heard about the Silica RX project. This is huge. JDRF's commitment to manufacture affordable insulin for anyone who needs it, regardless of their insurance.
I just love this project, and obviously, as we heard this morning, it's changing lives. So many in this room and around our country.
Yeah,
so
it's really life-changing. Yeah. Now, while we're at it, I'd like to ask you, can we do something about gasoline? How about avocados? Egg prices are up like 40% this year.
Hey, Sanjoy, can we get avocados and eggs in the research portfolio? Come on.
We've got all this today. And speaking of Sanjoy, well, I have to say, you win the prize for the second best wig of one conference so far. But seriously, folks, we have a great lineup of guests tonight and a great show for you all. We're going to be hearing stories from people just like every one of you who are using their voices to amplify our message. They're leveraging more giving, and they're accelerating our progress to drive more dollars towards our mission. Our guests exemplify that if you truly believe in JDRF, we all can inspire others to follow. We can raise more funds. Together, we can find a cure for type 1 diabetes. Huh?
Absolutely, Kevin. There are so many different pieces of the JDRF puzzle that make up our mission. I can't wait to hear from our guests tonight, and I know when we work together, we will cure T1D.
I believe it will. I believe it, and that is the perfect segue to tonight's theme. You believe in magic?
That's cute, Kevin, but not sure it's quite on point.
Okay.
I believe in science.
Woo!
And even though some of the science we've heard about today may seem like magic, they're for real.
I got you. Fair enough. Okay. Well, let's just keep it simple then. How about just believe? We believe. Okay, tough crowd. Speaking of Ted Lasso, because you brought it up, let's go on with season 3, right? I feel like I've been waiting forever for that show.
Seriously, I'm not sure who's slower, the producers at Apple Plus or the FDA on their approval of Ted Lasso. We're gonna have to remake the Game of Thrones before they start approving.
Well, let's hope not for more than one reason. Well, okay, maybe let's just table the theme here. It's just really hard, we need a theme that everyone knows, that everyone can understand, everyone that can appreciate. We need a theme that makes you want to get out of your seat and cheer, sing at the top of your lungs. A theme that captures this pivotal moment in JDRF's 50-year history, that if we don't stop, if we hold on to this feeling, and we keep believing, we will create a world without type 1 diabetes. Any ideas?
Oh, I'm not sure, Kevin, but maybe.
with me. Let's start the show, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that's strong. All right, well, we've got some great guests tonight, and this first guest I'm so excited to introduce. There's so many ways I can introduce this guest. A mother and T1D champion, a community board leader, a walk team captain, a fundraiser, a wine enthusiast, most recently, the vice chair of the International Board of Directors. Please welcome Michelle Griffin. Hiatus. So I'm really interested in what goes on behind those closed door meetings. The reason I ask is, Aaron keeps saying we're at a renaissance time in T1D, and that's really contagious enthusiasm. I love that. Is the board feeling that same way? And where do you think we're going, and how are we going to get there?
Thanks, Kevin. Claudia said this morning what an honor it is to serve on the International Board. My 14 colleagues are amazing. They're super smart, they're very strategic. They come from all over, lots of different backgrounds. 14 out of 15 of us have a direct connection to type 1 diabetes. The one who doesn't, we refer to as our angel. And it's really an incredible group of people to be with. Because we're a governing board, we kind of operate at the 30,000-foot level, talking about strategy. We have the luxury of taking a long view on things. Where will we be in 5 years? Where will we be in 25 years? For management, they're dealing with the day-to-day operations and challenges. Sometimes that's hard for them to do, so we can be good advisors to them in that role. One of the things that we've been talking about lately is when we think about the pipeline from basic scientific research all the way to getting a product or therapy in people's hands. What is JDRF's role across that pipeline? What are our priorities? We've spent the last 50 plus years doing such a great job in the beginning of the pipeline, the scientific research, and we've moved on to clinical trials. My son Cameron was diagnosed in 2007 and participated in a clinical trial that turned out to be teplizumab. I'm going to say that much.
You said it. We've been practicing that word all morning.
Always do that.
It's hard.
It is. And at that time, JDRF had 7 clinical trials, 2007. So fast forward today, we have more than 50. And we're really focused on making sure the recruitment and completion of these trials is as fast as it can be. So these are the kind of discussions that the board has about where we're going and making sure that we're sowing the seeds for the future.
Excellent. So exciting. And the right side of the pipeline, that's the side that's closer to patients. That's the side we want to be on, and all you fine folks have helped us get there. Although I take issue with something you just said. It's also me going off script. You said 25 years. I don't want to be here in 25 years. Let's all go on to other organizations. Let's have this secured by them. No promises. We don't do that. But anyway, appreciate that insight.
Well, I would say, Kevin, that when you think 25 years out, it's super exciting because we'll be a completely different organization. We'll be much more, I would guess, about access to these cures.
Yes.
I think one of the big insights for me was that there's not going to be just one cure. There will be multiple cures. And so it's not going to be right for everyone. So when I think 25 years out, I see us completely differently than we are today.
I love it. Thank you, Michelle. So you and your family have supported some of JDRF's biggest and boldest bets and initiatives. It's really interesting. I'm curious, what about these big things, T1D fund, etc., what have they inspired and excited you personally?
I love JDRF's boldness. We heard this morning from Cynthia that JDRF is the one to step in and fund a $10 million clinical trial so that we can have CGM as standard of care. Nobody else was going to do that. I love that JDRF sees the gaps that there are in that pipeline and getting the products and therapies in patients' hands and is willing to make those, take the risk and make those investments. I remember really early days hearing Sanjoy talk about glucose control and that JDRF was sponsoring a prize. And what they were, in doing so, they were hoping that they would get research grant applications from not the usual suspects, which I think is so brilliant and really remarkable. And then I think, fast forwarding in my own backyard, the Center of Excellence for Northern California, only JDRF could take the amazing groundbreaking work that Stanford is doing on transplantation without immune suppression and marry it with the work that UCSF has done on creating at scale, the millions of beta cells that you would need for a transplant like that. So lastly, Civica, which I know Aaron did such a great job talking about this morning, I think that might be what I'm most proud of that JDRF has done. When I think 5 years ago, whether we would have made that same investment, I'm not sure we would have, because back then I feel like we defined accelerating life-changing breakthroughs as being more science and technology oriented. So to hear Aaron talk in this last year about breakthroughs in a different way, what he said was, if you can't afford insulin and you need it to live, getting access to affordable insulin is a life-changing breakthrough for you. And I love that JDRF has expanded its definition of what a life-changing breakthrough is. And every single person living with this disease can benefit from that. So really, really proud.
Yeah, thank you. Michelle, I've known you for over 10 years. You were one of the first people I met at JDRF because you had your camps crew, the greatest walk team in San Francisco Walk. You've done galas, you've done it all. But it seems like right now, today, just lately, you are so all in on JDRF more than ever before. Could you articulate that a little bit? What brought you there?
Yeah, I do feel that. It's like I'm 4 months into my new role, and I still wake up every morning and I'm like, I'm so excited, which is a really great way to feel, right? And I think about being given a gift in a way, right? So I was on the international board for 6 years. I retired, so to speak. I was able to spend the next 3 years working more deeply in the chapter with my 2 fabulous staff partners. And to get the opportunity to come back, you really have fresh eyes. And what I've seen in these 3 years, and think about it, and COVID was 2 of those 3 years, right? When I see the progress that we've made mission-wise and the great leadership in these last 3 years of Aaron and his team, I just feel like we have so many opportunities. It's exciting to get up and think about doing something with that. Last night Grant said he's Emily's dad. Well, I'm Karen's mom. And I feel like this is the most important thing I can do.
Yeah. And side note, I was just at the Northern California Gala with you, and your son attended for the very first time, which I just think is so cool. And you were sharing a little bit about that experience and what that meant. Would you care to share a few words about it?
Yeah, I've invited him for I don't know how many years to go to the gala. That's a mom and dad thing, not going. I don't know how I twisted his arm this time. But he went, and I was just filled with pride, showing off to everybody. I was so excited. And for him to feel in the room, you feel things in there. This room has a certain power. Galas have a power too. Walks have a power. And I really wanted him to feel that because there's a lot of love behind that and a lot of support. And I was thrilled that he could experience that for himself.
Magic in the room, for sure. That's really exciting. And it actually is a nice sort of segue into our upcoming guests and finding ways to stay involved as young adults. And we'll segue to that in a minute. But first, when we take off our pumps, as Aaron said, I like that. I'm going to take off. Well, I don't have a pump yet, but I'm going to get one real soon. And as soon as I get it, I'm going to take it off. We have to do it all the free time. I mean, you're so involved. I feel like you're everywhere here at JDRF. What else is on your plate?
Well, time is the most precious thing we have, so thank you to all of you, walkers, riders, advocates, gala chairs, staff. Thank you so much for giving us your precious time. I think I will do more of the things I love, so that would be reading more books, spending more time in my garden, drinking more great California wine, and at the risk of sounding like a crazy cat lady, because that is a real thing. I will pet more cats at the animal rescue place that I volunteer at.
Love it. been really great. And I think you're going to enjoy the next guest. Our next round, we've got some great guests coming up tonight. These are two young adults, much like your son, who, they aged out of walk. They don't really feel like that's their place anymore, but they found a place where they can use their voice. They're not quite ready for board service, and so they are exemplifying, how to tell JDRF school to use their voices and share our mission. I think that's so important.
Yeah, the voices and the awareness that they can bring is how we power through that pipeline, honestly.
That's right.
It's so true, and I remember when I was 11 and I was diagnosed, I had a similar journey throughout life, and here we are in a different place in time, and I feel like if we follow all this amazing science, we need to get it to the FDA's desk, we need to get it approved by health insurance companies, we need to follow all the processes, but it's people like this in the room, the advocates out there who will meet tonight, that really can be game changers for us. So I think
It's
about
something
that
we
every
can
day.
all do. I mean, each of us can have a role in that.
That's right. Well, awesome. Well, joining us tonight from Richmond, Virginia, please welcome nursing student and JDRF warrior Cameron Owen, and originally from Texas, now living right down the street in Washington, D.C., where she works in public affairs. Please welcome Berkeley Barnett. Welcome to the show. Alright, we're going to start with you tonight, Berkeley. I understand you've been involved with JDRF in a variety of ways throughout most of your life. I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey and your JDRF advocacy and how it's had an impact on your life now.
Yeah, of course. So I was diagnosed with type 1 in 2004, and immediately my parents wanted me to find a community and just get involved. And so we found our JDRF, local JDRF chapter, and started participating in walks. And I remember doing a kids walk at my elementary school and getting to be on the news to explain to people what type 1 diabetes was. And I just loved all of that. My family was volunteering at the walks. Like, I didn't even want to do the walk. I wanted to help people at the walk. I just loved that. And so my dad heard about the Promise to Remember Me campaign when I was a freshman in high school. And so that was my first exposure to Congress, I guess you could say, and real, true advocacy in the sense of meeting with legislators. So, safe to say I loved that experience as well. And I pretty much immediately applied for Children's Congress, the next opportunity I got. And again, life-changing experience. I remember looking at my dad. My original plan was to go to medical school. And I remember looking at my dad during the hearing in the Senate building and going, wait, so our doctors can also be senators? That's pretty cool. So I was really excited about that, and was pre-med all through college, and the summer going into my junior year of college was an intern for JDRF advocacy. And again, it was a Children's Congress year, so I was super excited about that, and got to spend the summer going to FDA and showing them my insulin pump and how important it is to get approval for those things. And then the highlight again was Children's Congress, and I remember once again sitting in the Heart Senate room and texting my dad and saying, okay, yeah, I'm not going to medical school. And so I just loved advocating. First job out of college was on the Senate Health Committee, and just got to see real work get done and love that. But I have been feeling this gap for a few years of, I was so active in the JDRF Austin chapter and really was missing that. And I had in college Children's Congress and my internship and loved that, but again was just feeling this gap. So recently the wonderful ladies of the JDRF Advocacy Office reached out to me about kicking off the Advocates in Action Council, AAC, and we have brought together a group of young adults, 18 to 26, who are like me, want to continue advocating, but didn't really feel like they had a space to do that. And so I've been doing that recently, which is great, because I feel like I'm back in the JDRF community.
So awesome. Very, very cool. Thank you for sharing your story. I do want to just comment though, you said, doctors can be senators. It doesn't necessarily go the other direction. There's sometimes, just because you're a senator. Anyway. Was that a safe political joke? I'm not sure. All right, well, we really appreciate, your voice and using your voice. And I think this is huge because how many parents are out there with kids like Cameron, Michelle's son, that are like, where do I belong? What can I do? How can I amplify my voice? And this is a great example of that for both of you. And there's actually two Camerons, as I realized. Our other Cameron has also been involved with JDRF for so long and involved with the AAC program. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your story and your career path and how that's been formed.
Well, thank you. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the age of 5 and immediately got involved with JDRF, starting off with the galas, singing with the famous people that would come to the galas. We also did Fund a Cure, and then I guess once I aged out of that, I just was going back to the galas and volunteering. I was also a 2013 Youth Ambassador, Children's Congress delegate. So that was amazing to be able to see all the diabetics across the world. I thought I was just in my small bubble in Virginia. I'm like, oh, it's diabetics everywhere. And that was really nice. And I think with all of my experiences, JDRF as a child gave me the passion and the drive to want to keep going. So I'm now going to nursing school and I want to be a diabetes educator and help bridge that gap between access and equity for people who don't know the resources or how to get an insulin pump, or they're mad because they're on syringes. And I'm like, oh, well, this is what you can do, and all the new stuff that's out. And my brother just got recently diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, so I'm not excited, but I'm excited that he has me, and I can help him and navigate this crazy world with diabetes.
You can certainly do some, practice in your diabetes education journey and help him. But sorry to hear about your brother, but it is good in a way that he has you, and that he can look up to you and learn from you, and that you can help guide him and support him. And I also understand on that note, we have another member of your family here today, another T1D champion. Your mother is here. You can shout out. So I love this AAC program. We're going to have more information and some of the take-homes for those that are interested in getting involved. One thing that I don't think we mentioned is you don't have to have type 1 to be involved. So for another way we can reach more people and engage more people, this is an opportunity that someone without type 1 diabetes can use their voice and advocate for our mission. I do have to say though, AAC, it's just like I keep running through these acronyms. JDRF, we're obsessed with acronyms. JDRF, T1D, AAC is, and you did your CC as Children's Congress, and your dad was an ACT. It's just like, come on, it's like go on and on. But hemoglobin A1C, it's everywhere. Anyway, so sidebar. But seriously, your voices are helping us reach more people. You're helping us spread our message. You are helping us move therapies and approvals through the developmental pipeline. Without our advocates, we would not be where we are with Vertex. We would not have our closed-loop systems. We would not have affordable insulin as a front and center political debate right now. So thank you for sharing your voices and driving that home. I'd like to hear from your own perspectives. We're talking about raising more funds. What role do you believe advocacy plays in that? And I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think it's really important advocacy really helps just inspire people. I really try to go out of my way when I've become that creepy person in CVS where I'm like, you're wearing a Dexcom, you have diabetes, do you know about JDRF? Here's this stuff. I am that person. I gave somebody my phone number at Trader Joe's 2 weeks ago. But I just feel like our voices can really inspire and help make a difference and instill change. And I've had type 1 for 19 years now. I can remember when my dad had to put my CGM in my butt because I was the only place with enough fat to hold a needle this big when I was 7 years old. And to now where it takes me 45 seconds to change my CGM, the needle's this big, it talks to my pump, which gives me insulin and suspense. I would not have been able to imagine that years ago. And so I think just being able to bring people together, have community, that you're not alone, and then together strive to make a change. I think it's so important.
Yeah, well said, well said. What about you, Cameron?
For me, advocacy is just so important because not only are you building relationships with new people that that have type 1 diabetes, but you're talking to people that actually can make the change, your community leaders, policymakers. Like I've been in several Promise to Remember Me meetings, and it's like, wow, you're talking to the people that can make this big impact. So I just think it's a really good opportunity, and all of our people that we're going to have in our council, I feel like we're going to really amplify our voices and change.
That's right, you are, absolutely. And you know, we talk about advocacy sort of separately, but advocacy is fundraising. It's part of that. Michelle, you and I were talking about this before the program a little bit, that critical role that it plays in literally raising more money. You know, Will, we were talking about the special diabetes program.
Yeah, I just heard them talking about amplifying voices, and isn't that what we're all here to do? We're trying to figure out the way that we can tell our story and amplify our voices. And don't forget that the advocates we see up here, see around the room, or see in your communities back home, are the folks who drive our advocacy work in that special diabetes program, which raises $150 million a year. I mean, that's game changing. It's huge. Thank you.
Absolutely. You know, last night I wrote this down. Aaron said that research and advocacy is what's going to take you to your type 1 diabetes, and he was talking about it with the both of you. So thank you for your work. How about a round of applause? All right, our next and final guest this evening, this guy is awesome. Known throughout the country as the kid who met the president. And of course his mother, who's a true T1D champion for her entire family. Please welcome Joshua and Shannon Davis. Nice touch, JD. Like it. Alrighty, so Josh, this is so cool. You literally, I feel like I'm meeting a celebrity right now. And I know it's how I introduce you, but is it weird that sort of everyone at your school and everyone that meets you, you're like, oh, you're that kid, you met the president, you were at the White House. Is that strange?
It is a little strange because it's not what I'm used to. But after the first couple of weeks, I've sort of gotten used to it. And it was definitely unreal that I got wished happy birthday on live television after I'd met the president. So, and just going to the White House in general, that was insane. Like, I don't think I'm ever gonna get over how unreal it was just to go to the White House and meet the president.
Yeah, it was so cool. I remember watching it at home, and I had no idea this was coming. I think we kept it under wraps, either that or I didn't read the email. But it was cool, which is also like, it was a total surprise to me to see you up there. And not just the fact that you got mentioned, but that you got so much airtime. And it was just like, oh man, you were so powerful. And it was just so cool. And I believe you actually brought a clip of that. So we're going to take a look at a little reminder of what, in case you missed it.
It was honestly very shocking when he said it, and then after he said it, I realized how much of a big deal that was.
Yesterday was his birthday. Happy birthday, buddy, by the way.
Yes, 13-year-old Joshua Davis getting a birthday shout-out from the president.
Like, in the middle of his speech, he said happy birthday to me. And that's just awesome.
Joshua's reaction to the attention captured the hearts of the social media audience.
Let's cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month.
And it wasn't his first brush with Biden. He delivered a short speech and introduced the president at an event in Culpeper, Virginia last month.
President of the United States, President Biden.
The president chose to highlight his family story because both Joshua and his dad have type 1 diabetes. They need insulin every day. And on the Biden agenda is bringing the cost of that insulin down.
The handsome young man standing up there, Joshua Davis.
That's awesome.
I remember watching from home. I'm like,
Yeah.
honey,
Yeah.
we're on TV. Game changing. Let's do this.
It's really amazing. That was what, like 6 or 7 months ago? I feel like you've grown like 2 feet since then.
Hopefully not that much.
Nonetheless, super cool. Yeah, right. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Shannon, I'd love to hear from you because I understand that you are not only obviously just busy mom, busy professional, lots of activities in JDRF. I'd love to hear more about your story and some of the accomplishments that you pulled off in supporting your family.
Thanks. We started with JDRF when my husband was diagnosed, but we really didn't know anything about type 1. At that time, he was diagnosed at 28. He was misdiagnosed like so many adults. And so then fast forward to Joshua being diagnosed at 11 months old, that's where we really started to learn about JDRF and get involved in at the time, our Hampton Roads chapter in Virginia Beach. And through that experience, we were able to connect with people. We did the walks, the galas, all the things that everybody's able to do to help out. And when Joshua was about to start school, we realized that in the state of Virginia, children had to keep it was up to the school, but they weren't allowed naturally to carry their supplies with them throughout the school building. They were most of the time locked in the clinics, which at the time when Joshua was getting ready to start was unfortunately around a lot of lockdowns and drills and things of that nature. So we went to the Virginia General Assembly and worked on a bill that allows children to carry their supplies, something so simple. And so we spent a lot of time doing that, and that's where I think our family really fell in love with advocating and seeing the big picture of knowing there's a problem and being able to fix it, being able to really put yourself into it to make a difference. So from there, Joshua participated in Children's Congress, which we absolutely loved. I'll never forget walking into the room, and he at the time, he was only about 6 years old, but being able for him to see everybody in the room having type 1, like I remember him being like, wait, they all have type 1? Like it was like the coolest experience as a mom. And just the impact that I saw when he met the celebrities and the stars and the adults that they brought in, even the people who they didn't see themselves as a celebrity, but to these kids, there's nothing that stops them. So Children's Congress is definitely a turning point for our family. We've also participated in many trials through UVA. Joshua was lucky enough to participate in 4 of the artificial pancreas trials to get to the point that we are in right now with the T-Slim. And my husband is actually in a trial right now trying Lumjev with the T-Slim on a new version of the T-Slim that's going on right now. So it's a really exciting, the trials are very exciting. I feel like we get the experience to see what's coming, and it's so wonderful. There's so many great things. And then my son Jackson also participates in the trial. He's 16 and he has multiple antibodies available. So we're very excited about the new research that's being released.
Wow, you are like every step of the pipeline. Your whole family, it's amazing. I mean, really, you're involved as advocates and trials and fundraisers, and I mean, you've done it all. So that's pretty remarkable. I gotta say to Joshua, you're 13, you've met the president, you've been in Children's Congress, you're like, making me feel kind of like, what am I doing here? Yeah. Pretty cool. So Children's Congress, you got to attend there, which is awesome. We have now 3 Children's Congress delegates on stage, which is epic. Parents out there. I hope everyone knows that the application process is happening right now, and whether or not your family is chosen, that's good practice for college essays, for future, job applications. I mean, really, it's storytelling, walk letters, all of it. So you can reuse a lot of that stuff here. But as a Children's Congress delegate, I don't think you went to the White House. You got close, as close as we are now. But when you were in the White House, do you have any fun stories? Anything crazy or surprising happen?
Yes. So when we actually got to the White House, we had a few minutes to actually look around, and we were in the presidential library, and I have a pump occlusion. So
perfect timing.
Yes.
Always happens at the
Hold on, Joe. Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually had to do a pump change in the presidential library, and everyone had to wait for me. So.
I imagine this crowd of other delegates. They're like, "We're not waiting. We're not waiting." You're like, "Yes, you are." Okay, so super cool. I mean, that's so funny. What a memorable story. And then after that day, and after being on TV, you were like the most famous person ever with type 1 diabetes, I feel like the next day you were everywhere, you were trending. What was that like?
So it was very different than what I'm used to. Because, well, I got wished happy birthday on live television. I got to meet the president, and I have type 1 diabetes, and all of that together made a very interesting couple of weeks. Kids were stopping me in the hallway with shouts of, "It's the kid that met the president!" and stuff like that. So it was very different than what I'm used to, but overall it was just an amazing experience that you can't replicate anywhere else.
That's amazing. And I think you were trending on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. Did we already drop that slide up? And I was just listening to Josh here. Look at that. How many retweets is that? Like 45,000? That's pretty awesome, man. So
yeah, when I'm trending, it's like 12 hits from my family.
yeah. That's fine. I don't use Twitter anymore. Josh, seriously though, your voice was so loud that day, and your story was so important. You found a way to build awareness and ensure that the people that are making these decisions and running our country are using their influence where it matters the most. And it comes down to storytelling. And this is, I think, what we're trying to drive home here. Is we're connecting to people. We're telling our stories. We're connecting to their hearts. And the White House visit was super cool, but you shared with me that wasn't actually your proudest or your strongest moment as an advocate. When was that? That was actually different.
So yes, well, most people think that going to the White House and being in the State of the Union would be my proudest moment. But the thing is, the only thing I did there is sat there, stood up, and waved. Actually, my proudest moment was actually like 1 or 2 months earlier when I went to a presidential meeting in Culpeper. And I actually got to give a speech and introduce President Biden to his speech. And the reason that's my proudest moment is because I felt like my voice was actually heard, and I got to say what I wanted to say. So, yeah.
The more people that hear stories like yours, the more people will support our mission. We are reaching more people through walks, rides, gala, whatever it is, and you've shown us just how loud and how far that message can reach. So thank you, Joshua. Well, folks, this has been great. I've had fun. Yeah, I think it went pretty well. Yeah. All right. So for our final quick fire segment, I want to go down the line here. I want to ask each of you to share in a few sentences why you believe that we can fuel this mission. So we're going to go down the line, but first, we're going to kick it off with the true believer himself. Let's play the clip.
All right, now, fellas, hey, let's focus up, huh? So I've been hearing this phrase y'all got over here that I ain't too crazy about. It's the hope that kills you. Y'all know that? I disagree, you know? I think it's the lack of hope that comes to get you. See, I believe in hope. I believe in believing. Now, where I'm from, we got a saying too. Yeah? Question actually. Do you believe in miracles? Now, I don't need y'all to answer that question for me. But I do want you to answer that question for yourselves. Right now. Do you believe in miracles? And if you do, then I want y'all to circle up with me right now. Get me in here. All right, Kathy, let them know.
Mission on tour. 1, 2.
All right, let's go down the line here. Josh, let's start with you. Can you tell us why you believe we can fuel this mission?
I believe that we can fuel this mission because I believe that everyone in this room can impact change and help cure type 1 diabetes?
Well said. Shannon?
I believe because I've seen it happen. I've seen us pull together as a team, as one, and make changes in Joshua's life alone. Just the amount of time that he's been diagnosed, the amount of amazing changes that have happened because of you and because of what you've done already. So I believe because of you.
I believe because I've seen everybody come together and really, truly instill the message of JDRF into community members, but also Congress and state governments, and just making it happen. And again, like change. Again, we've gone from needles this big to needles this big, and only having to prick our fingers once or twice a day. So I just am inspired.
I believe because I look at where I was when I was 5 and when I was diagnosed and doing syringes. Now looking at my 11-year-old brother, he has the Dexcom on his phone and all these other new gadgets. I'm really empowered, and I know that with our fundraising that we can do so much more.
I believe that JDRF is the only organization that has the capability to eliminate this daily burden from our lives.
And I believe in science. We have the greatest team in the world working on type 1 diabetes research, as we've learned in the last few days. And I'm a living, breathing example of how much better life can be when we utilize that science. You know, but Kevin, there's one other thing I believe in, and I think you believe deeply in this too. Tell them, what is it?
I feel you, Will. Well, I believe and we believe because when I look out over this room, full of the most amazing people, literally, in the world and in the T1D community, we believe in all of you. We believe in strong partnerships and bold new initiatives. We believe we will change the world. We will change the world by curing type 1 diabetes. So if you believe, I want you to pick up the signs on your table, right here. Pick them up and hold them high.